Storytelling is a really important aspect of the text and the human experience module, and what we're going to do is use this tutorial to come to a way of thinking, just have a direction in which we're able to develop a critical voice that will help you for all of your responses, the speech and then further essays and responses that are related to text and the human experience. That can be the short answer responses as well, and it will help with your reflective writing. Okay, so I want you to think about a novel you have read or a film you've seen that's had a significant impact on you. And what was it about the story or the way it was told that captured your imagination? So maybe you connected with a particular character, perhaps you were confronted by the ideas it presented, or did the ending leave you thinking about the story long after it was over? Fictional stories are powerful. They have a potential to influence us and to shape our thinking. When you think about it, people write stories to share a message with the world, and this has been a tradition for centuries. In many instances, stories work on numerous levels. They have layers. On the surface, they entertain us and provide an imaginary world for us to explore. But on a deeper level, they contribute to our development of identity. So every story that we encounter helps to consolidate our beliefs, our attitudes, our morals, and our broader worldview. So when we read a novel, we test our own values against the conflict occurring within the novel. So we dislike injustice and we barrack for the oppressed and the underdog. And the events of the novel allow us to test our own moral standards. And it either affirms them or we adjust them accordingly. So maybe we hadn't considered something from that perspective, or the perspective presented in the novel, so we adjust our thinking accordingly. So novels allow us to reflect on ourselves and our world. And this notion is important and is a starting point for creating a thesis. So Joseph Campbell argued that there are only 7 archetypal stories that all stories can be classified into. And what compels us to hear them is that each story contributes to a long tradition of exploring a topic. So for example, All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr is not the first story written about World War II, but it adds another dimension to the war narrative. And what we have to do is decipher how this story adds new ideas or different perspectives to the narrative of war. The term for this is discourse. There is an ongoing discourse, an ongoing conversation about war, and each war story adds something new. Traditionally, war stories were told by the victors. And George Orwell wrote, "Who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past." And this suggests that there is a dominant narrative in storytelling and that there is a power relationship built within it. And that is, those with the power have the loudest voice and they tell the story. And we can also call this meta-narrative. Storytelling, however, provides the opportunity for many voices to be heard. Sometimes they confirm the dominant narratives, and other times they contest them. So micro-narratives, or the marginalised narratives, are story told by the marginalised, those often not provided with a voice. And they provide a different perspective to the dominant view and are often concerned with a more personal point of view. They provide a human face to the story. They add colour, and they fill in the gaps and silences of the dominant narrative. So we can divide meta and micro narratives into public and private worlds. The public official representation of war is political, and it states that war is necessary. The private worldview highlights the personal, social and emotional impact of war. We get a much clearer view of the experience of life for individuals as they struggle to cope and survive when we look at the private, those micro-narratives. Novels provide us with the experience of an individual in a situation, but their experience is often that of the collective. and the story of one person's journey often represents the experience of many. And in this novel, we follow the journey of Marie-Laure and Werner, and we share their reaction to war, and we see the impact and influence of family and others on them. But it really is the universal story of all who experience war, because their experiences are similar. So from a story like All the Light We Cannot See, we can draw conclusions and arrive at new perspectives. For example, we come to understand that although they're on different sides, Marie-Laure and Werner both are the same. Their country's politics and beliefs may differ in the public sphere, but their own personal perspectives align. Dore presents that what the people of France want is exactly the same as what the people of Germany want. They don't want war, they want peace, they want to be with their family, and they want to live a life free of fear. So, to conclude, fiction is a powerful means to express ideas and shape identities. It's an ongoing tradition that has influenced societies for eons and in varied and in diverse cultures. Storytelling is integral to humanity. It helps us to understand who we are and what our purpose in life is. So, it would be very useful for you to find a quote about the power of fiction. It'll help you develop a critical voice in your writing, and it will help you to create a thesis that you can use for this unit.